put him in the lead.
The dynamism of politics should let them know that the narrative has changed. It is Dr. Bawumia's time. Look, nobody can change it except God.
We'll hear shortly from Majority Chief Whip Frank Anot-Dompreh, who says more than 120 members of parliament support Dr. Bawumia's candidature. Also in the bulletin, former chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Kojo Afari-Gyan, warns the EC against establishing numerous collation centers in the election management process since they are vulnerable to election manipulation.
Maybe the Electoral Commission is being lazy by not collecting from at least 275 point result sheets, but from only 16 results. At the next opportunity, we should reverse it.
Plus, families of the 5 suspects killed in Botiano shooting incident oppose autopsies on the bodies. We'll tell you why shortly. And Office of the Special Prosecutor says it has power to arrest any person reasonably suspected of corruption after Accra High Court enjoined OSP preventing it from arresting former Secretary of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Charles Bissio. We have details of these stories and a lot more coming to you shortly. Please stay with us. Welcome to the program. Vice President Dr. Bawumia is expected to file his nomination today to contest the New Patriotic Party flag bearership race. A new survey conducted by Global Info Analytics among MPP delegates has revealed that the Vice President Dr. Bawumia leads the former Trade and Industry Minister Alan Chemantin, an MP for Asen Central Kennedy Ohene Ejapon in the race to lead the MPP in 2024. Now, Executive Director of Global Info Analytics Musa Dankwa says Dr. Bawumia leads with a little over 34% of the votes, followed by Chemantin with some 27% and Kennedy Ejapon with 12%.
The current poll that we've done among all the delegates, polling station executives, now shows that Dr. Bawumia has a lead of almost 35%, 34.8%, and Alan on 27.9%. About almost 28%, and Kennedy on 12.5%. Polls have been showing consistently since January 2022, but we've seen a narrowing of the gap between the general public, or between Alan and Bawumia, to now a single-digit point. So that gap is narrowing as we speak, but we don't know what the situation is at the moment. We're going to be going back to the polls again at end of June.
You hear the Executive Director of the Global Info Analytics speaking there. Meanwhile, ahead of the filing of his nomination today, Majority Chief Whip Anot-Dompreh says over 120 members of Parliament support the Vice President Dr. Bawumia to lead the party as its flag bearer. I spoke to my colleague Komla Kluche.
This is not Alan's time. This is Dr. Bawumia's time.
Why is it not Alan?
No, you see, politics, there's a season and time. If you're not careful, you get it wrong. Look at the U.S., Biden himself, President Biden himself. Look at where all the processes, the up and down he went through. Today, he's president. You see, and people say, okay, Alan was closer in the last, the primaries we held, reasonably he would take over. The dynamism of leadership and politics should let them know. And my colleagues with respect to Carlos, Eugene, and co. The dynamism of politics should let them know that the narrative has changed. It is Dr. Bawumia's time. Look, nobody can change it except God.
You heard the voice of Majority Chief Whip Anot-Dompreh speaking there. Now to some other subject. A former chairman of the Electoral Commission of Ghana, Dr. Kojo Afari-Gyan, has urged the Electoral Commission to reconsider the establishment of numerous collation centers in the election management process. Dr. Afari-Gyan expressed concern that having multiple collation centers could potentially lead to disastrous consequences, that each center becomes susceptible to election manipulation during the electoral process. He was speaking at a forum to mark 60 years of the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana.
My suggestion is that at minimum we should send the results directly from the 275 constituencies to the Electoral Commission. Because you see, after all, the returning officer at the constituency level is collecting from maybe 150 places and so on. So that's why I said, okay, maybe the Electoral Commission is being lazy by not collecting from at least 275 result sheets, but from only 16 results. Seriously, I'm suggesting that at the next opportunity, we should reverse it. And if we cannot send the result directly from the polling station to the Electoral Commission, at least from the 275 constituency levels to the Electoral Commission for collation.
In a related development, a senior fellow at the Center for Democratic Development, Dr. Osei Kwapon, raises concerns about what he describes as the inflexible attitude of the Electoral Commission. According to him, the Electoral Commission must ensure compromises to make a headway. His comment follows the insistence by the Director of Elections at the AC, Dr. Sribo Kwaku, to use a Ghana card in the 2024 elections. First, take a listen to Dr. Sribo Kwaku.
But the challenge now is we are satisfied that we have addressed the impersonation to a large extent. We have addressed the multiple registration, multiple voting to a large extent. But how do we address the regulation of minors and the regulation of foreigners? Let us think that one way of addressing it is to use the Ghana card. And there have been a lot of arguments. We are still battling it out, and we are still insistent that let us use the Ghana card so that.
The voice of the Director of Elections of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Sribo Kwaku, there. But Dr. Osei Kwapon disagrees with his position. He spoke on Ghana tonight.
In as much as I understand the position of the EC and what it is trying to do in terms of giving all of us a voters register with integrity that everybody can vouch for and stand behind, I worry about the inflexible attitude and approach in how you resolve that impasse. Because it was sent back to them from Parliament, the Committee of the Whole.
Right.
Is the EC saying, given our position, that's what they are going to report back to Parliament to say, we stand by our CI, we are not going to change. There has to be some form of a compromise.
A senior fellow at the Center for Democratic Development, speaking there, Dr. Osei Kwapon. To other stories, and families of the 5 suspects killed in the Botiano shooting incident are opposing the police service's decision to conduct post-mortem on the bodies. The police had initiated moves to have the post-mortem carried out by a pathologist at the police hospitals, more claiming that it is the surest way to determine the actual cause of death of the 5 deceased suspects. But the families are vehemently opposing the post-mortem because the police, in its statement released on June 10, 2023, indicated that the suspects died from gunshot injuries sustained during a shootout on June 8. Now, out of the 5 suspects killed, remains of 4 have been identified by the families, while 1 person is yet to be identified. The families are also requesting the police to release bodies of their deceased members for burial, but the police have been hesitant. This is a subject to be following, and will bring you details in our subsequent bulletins. To some other subject, and the Office of the Special Prosecutor has said that it has the power to arrest any person reasonably suspected of having committed corruption or corruption-related offences or a crime. Now, the OSP tweeted after the Human Rights Court 2 in Accra slapped an interim injunction on it and its agent or signs preventing the OSP from executing the arrest warrant issued for former presidential staffer Charles Bisu. According to the OSP, quote, the general public is advised that in the exercise of its police powers, the Office of the Special Prosecutor can arrest without a warrant any person it reasonably suspects of having committed corruption or corruption-related offences, end of quote. Let's wrap up with some news on security. Our security analyst Emmanuel Coating has cautioned the Asantehene Otumfuo 82 against conflict profiteering as it begins the mediation process in the Boko chieftaincy conflict. The Asantehene, upon receiving the chieftaincy and religious affairs minister Stephen Asamoah Boateng at his Meshia Palace, remarked pockets of chieftaincy conflicts in part of the country have come about as a result of attempts by some political parties to change the status quo. While speaking to 3FM, Emmanuel Coating said the conflict is taking a political dimension.
With
Otunfo to publicly announce that he's stepping in, it means that the legwork has been done and the feuding faction has agreed in principle to give him a listening ear and for him to be deep into the crisis. My only fear is how we can manage conflict profiteers like that they don't take advantage and be on either side to give entrenched positions. As a matter of fact, when the Nigerians gained a new Boko Naba from the Mapuche side, I even made the statement that you can go to the table to negotiate.
The voice of security analyst Emmanuel quoting there, ending the morning news here on 3FM 92.7. There's always more news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby Annan. Sunrise is up next. Good morning.